Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Poetryspective 55, the fourth online Poetryspective edition, brought to you from Schatzdom, still sponsored by Pride of our Footscray Community Bar. My name is Lish, your MC for the evening. We have a really exciting night for you tonight. Our feature, Helen Bradwell, is superb, so I know that you will enjoy her set very, very much. And our open section is going to be absolutely marvellous. We have James, Walton, Phu Linh Tran, Gerald Lewis-Fitzgerald, and many more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, now that you're all relaxing, sitting down, reclining with your drinks and your nibbles, ready for the night's entertainment, it's time for the open section. And I would actually like to start the open section in honour of the retrospective with a poem by Rex Buckingham. Rex Buckingham was born in 1954 and he passed away in 1993. And his book, For the Voice, was published in 1994. I've always found Rex to be a voice of inspiration, beauty, and pure poetry. So I have chosen tonight to give us all a little bit of hope and beauty and pure poetry by reading For the Voice by Rex Buckingham. I, you who speak freedom's equality, take hold, your bold heart is a flower, a waratah if you like. Your words are fire, this tree will blossom as a flower, a waratah if you like. Take hold, your bold heart, freedom's equality, who speak, you, I, you who speak freedom's equality, take hold, your bold heart as a flower, a waratah if you like. Your words are fire, this tree will blossom, is a flower, a waratah if you like. Take hold, your bold heart, freedom's equality, who speak, you, I, you who speak freedom's equality, take hold, your bold heart is a flower, a waratah if you like. Your words are fire, this tree will blossom as a flower, a waratah if you like. Take hold, your bold heart, freedom's equality, who speak, you, I. Rex Buckingham, well loved. And now for the open section.
Hi everyone, good to be with you again for Poetryspective. This poem is The Taverns by Constantine Kafafe. I wallow in the taverns and brothels of Beirut. I didn't want to stay in Alexandria. Timides left me. He went off with the prefect's son to earn himself a villa on the Nile, a mansion in the city. It wouldn't have been right for me to stay in Alexandria. I wallow in the taverns and brothels of Beirut. I live a vile life, devoted to cheap debauchery. The one thing that saves me, like durable beauty, like perfume that goes on clinging to my flesh, is this. Timides, most exquisite of young men, was mine for 2 years, and mine not for a house or a villa on the Nile. Thank you.
Hi Lish, hi everyone. I'm going to read two poems, both on the theme of social distancing. Antiseptic skies masked in grey, street noise hushed, diesel fumes on leave, coffee aroma lingers, threads its way through ethanol, Primogel Plus pumped, a doctor in blue garb, his face covered, clean white, Mediterranean hues, and I'm feeling the sun. At the elevator, he presses the button. Sanitizers. Doors open, we adjust our masks. No more than 4, stand apart, ascending in heady chlorine. 3rd floor, west wing, day procedures. Sanitize. In the waiting room, a barrier. Protect office workers. Protect us. A new normal. A sign signals, every second chair empty. Blue curtain, a shield in battle. Sanitize. The ward, astringent, medicinal, near empty. Once stronger in numbers, now safer alone. Limit visits. Sanitize. Step out. Breathe in the organic air. Steel blue skies beckon. Spicy and resinous, minty and herbaceous, subtle, earthy, woody, rich. Okay, thanks. And one more. The distancing. Confined to our homes or compound, suddenly common rules, like shattered glass, flatten the curve. A rib tightly closed weave, it cannot be picked. Smooth, silky, clingy isolation, craft paper embossed and shimmering, jigsaw puzzles, board games and math, virtual family visits on Skype. Leave the house for essentials, a raven's call, a peppered beard, a covered smile unseen. In a compound, hours pass in opaque solitude, distancing 1.5 metres. Unauthorised non-citizens dig for specks of coloured dirt. Barbed wire touches Solaris, Sirius and Alpha Centauri. A school teacher, a man of faith, cries, Inshallah. Okay, thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Process. The paths of weirdness of the unknowable symbolic death bring synthesis of vectors. Divine inspiration sparks transformation of intent, a weaving of ideals ancient and ideas advanced. From controlled crisis and disruption comes inner harmony. Kola. See the light. Know what it is to be alive and grasp the unknowable. Music is a celebration. To walk with pain, transcend it. Simple in ritual, coupling, EM spiritual, a smoke chant, part of cycle. Know yourself in terms of eternal dance. For romance, we are. She weaves, wheels with fire and ice, core of being sample-rich, sandwich, riddle holes of atom with sex sweat, strobe free. Which self you know? Alive. With the dance, tribal file stomp, Krug, Cola, newer mythology begins with a beat, 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 beat.
The Odyssey! A wail of grief, and his fond old nurse burst out in protest, sobbing, "Why, dear child, what craziness got into your head? Why bent on rambling over the face of the earth? A darling only son, your father's worlds away, God's own Odysseus, dead in some strange land. And these brutes here, just wait. The moment you're gone, they'll all be scheming against you. Kill you by guile they will, and carve your birthright up in pieces. No, sit here. Sit tight here. Guard your own things here. Don't go roving over the barren salt sea. No need to suffer so."
"Courage, old woman," thought the Telemachus, tried to reassure her. There's a god who made this plan, but swear you won't say anything to my mother. Not till 10 or a dozen days have passed, or she misses me herself and learns I'm gone. She mustn't mar her lovely face with tears.
The old one swore a solemn oath to the gods, and vowing she would never breathe a word, quickly drew off wine in 2-eared jars, and poured barley in well-stitched leather bags. Telemachus returned to the hall and joined the suitors.
Then, bright-eyed Pallas thought of one more step. Disguised as the prince, the goddess roamed through town, pausing beside each likely crewman, giving orders. Gather beside our ship at nightfall. Be there, she asked Noemon, Phronius' generous son, to lend her a swift ship. He gladly volunteered. The sun sank, and the roads of the world grew dark. Now the goddess hauled the swift ship down to the water, stowed in her all the tackle well-rigged vessels carry, moored her well away at the harbour's very mouth, and once the crew had gathered, rallying around, she heartened every man.
Then bright-eyed Pallas thought of one last thing. Back she went to King Odysseus's hall, and there she showered sweet oblivion over the suitors, dazing them as they drank, knocking cups from hands. No more loitering now, their eyes weighted down with sleep, they rose and groped through town to find their beds. But, calling the prince outside his timbered halls, taking the build and voice of Mentor once again, flashing-eyed Athena urged him on. Telemachus, your comrades at arms are ready at the oars, waiting for your command to launch. So come, on with our voyage now. We're wasting time.
And Pallas Athena sped away in the lead, as he followed in her footsteps, man and goddess. Once they reached the ship at the water's edge, they found their long-haired shipmates on the beach. The prince, inspired, gave his first commands. Come, friends, get the rations aboard. They're piled in the palace now. My mother knows nothing of this, no servants either. Only one has heard our plan.
He led them back, and the men fell in and fetched down all the stores and stowed them briskly, deep in the well-ribbed holes that Odysseus' son had directed. Telemachus climbed aboard. Athena led the way, assuming the pilot's seat, reserved astern, and he sat close beside her. Cables cast off, the crew swung to the oarlocks. Bright-eyed Athena sent them a stiff following wind, rippling out of the west, ruffling over the wine-dark sea, as Telemachus shouted out commands to all his shipmates.
All hands, lay to tackle. All lay hands to tackle. They sprang to orders. Hoisting the pinewood mast, they stepped it firm in its block amidships, lashed it fast with stays, and braided rawhide halyards hauled the white sail high. Suddenly, wind hit full and the canvas bellied out, and a dark blue wave, foaming up at the bow, sang out loud and strong as the ship made way, skimming the whitecaps, cutting toward her goal. All running gear secure in the swift black craft, they set up bowls and brimmed them high with wine, and poured libations out to the everlasting gods, who never die. To Athena, first of all, the daughter of Zeus, with flashing sea-grey eyes, and the ship went plunging all night long and through the dawn.
Black is the where she stands. So black is the color of my true love's hair. I love my lover, and well she knows. I love the ground on where she goes. And still I hope that the time will come when she and I will be as one. When she and I will be as one. So black is the color of my true love's hair, of my true love's hair.
G'day, James Walton here. Here's some poems. This one's called 1 Year I Grew Navajo Maize. Canals of a jeweller's dream, sacred as the Psalms of Solomon. When the waking day rippled, they shone louder than hearsay. Of a pain so bewildering and lost, the sheath sobbed a melancholy. And all seasoned by broken night, the thud of other falling fruit made steps outside of conscience. Within my pawn-shop love is too solemn a precipice, a girder in cantilever out over, an empty gallery hanging space, where bricks slowly isolate the sound of a facade crashing. But those hesitant frontiers cling, their plating portraits hidden, hopeful as a seed between lips. This poem is a poem based on the structure of a poem I saw by Raymond Carver, so I thought I'd pinch the structure, but not the words. It's called Old Falls Road, after R.C. Old Falls Road, the signs have been removed to keep the tourists confused. The secrete where dinosaur-age mushrooms prevail against the odds. My lips seize off timeless elastic lines. Blue Danish goes soft in jazz. Wine becomes warm, we sit afterwards. Backs against the leaking rock face. No ancient roar now, just the chirpy tinkling of private reclaimed places where a lyrebird drinks. This poem's called Under the Flinders Street Clocks. One day, maybe, we'll get back there. I am waiting. We were 17 when you said we'd meet under the clocks at Flinders Street Station. Each decade for 20 years, I waited for you. Photographed by students, longingly harassed by alms-gatherers. Still there the third time, that other guy. Seen by everyone in the woolen monk's habit morphed out of uni. Hair unfledged as usual. Held there by an umbrella. I am waiting. At the 40-year Plimsoll line. New trains bringing new suburbs of ancient peoples having traversed the earth. I am waiting for Esperanto. Drives them all where you are. I will be under the hands of half a century as the new ticketing system fails again. In the chimes of reasons the next time to make sense of this liturgy of travail. I am waiting still. I finally got around to reading Truman Capote's book, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Anyway, it sort of brought this to mind. Truman Capote's Brownstone. Holly's voice, fingers digging between ribs, the one-eyed cat's zigzag troop, the shower running. After the call-up, rooms full of old grey white men in avalanche, in touring country and western songs. A guitar taught her strung throats. No one's Fred. Calla was a phone booth at Joe Bouth's. Should have listened sooner, a false note on every dollar. In old Spanish towns, they believed blindness gave voice a tone. Birdcage on a sidewalk. A marmalade rescue warming a window. A wash in a cul-de-sac. Our histories gutter up, perhaps for snow or fire. The past's best kept as fine china. And something a little more cheery. Genuine offers considered. Good man, shimmying to waste. Comes with at least 20 years used by, plus 40 acres of fallow mixed pasture. 2 chainsaws, 1 field bike, diesel 4-wheel drive and petrol all-wheel drive, independent suspension, serviced spray unit, assorted parts, fencing in order, Marantz amplifiers and speakers. We'll throw in Kenwood shelf system, very large 1940s farmhouse, 2 verandas and house ghost Sandra. Mischievous but friendly and sincere, must be willing to accept, here when purchased. Government certified forest remnant, brush cutters and garden implements, able to make own repairs, cooks all cuisines, including full vegan. Off-grid power supply, 3 orchards, hay shed on ground, book collection of 5 tons, gravity-fed siphon system, excellent working order. Please send photos of tractor and favourite poems. Thanks for having me.
Hi Lish, I just wanted to read out about 8 of my poems that I've created for Poetryspective. They're in the haiku form, which is a verse of 5 syllables, 7 and then 5. And then I'll read out a tanka, which is an extension of the haiku with 5, 7, 5, and then two lines of 7 syllables each, and then following the same structure again in subsequent verses. So here goes. Talking is useless, like a dark echo chamber, hearing only you. Advice is empty. Your friend wants an easy way. You want your own peace. Birds frame balconies, dressed in floral bridalwear, then fly away nude. Beavers build dammed homes, aware of any leakage, then hide within walls. Dogs look for leaders to guide their inner compass, the safe way back home. Light spills onto desk. You shut out the glare that hurts and shut out nature. Cats slink stealthily across thin slivered planking, fear clearly absent. People stand warily, equidistant apart. Now, welcome unknown fear. This is the tanka that I've created called Nature Escaping Disaster. Running scared towards uncertain, sad conclusions with fear in their hearts. Running from invisible, unseen forces clutching tight. Gripping and choking their throats, they don't seem to fight back, only succumb to the voices from above. If powers say so, it's true. No questions asked or facts sought, only follow what you're officially told. Natural world is running, escaping known disaster. How this is known to those who are running from imminent collapse, an unknown conclusion, but we all run nonetheless. Thanks a lot.
Wild woman, cry for freedom. Wild woman, they tame you, you die. You die. So fight for freedom. Save yourself from this system of patriarchy. They control and conquer, divide and destroy. You think you need that boy in man's clothing? Gift him back to his mother who birthed him. She deserves him. Now, wild woman, grasp your wild, shred that veil, grab your free will and dance to your own groove. That groove he scratched his manhood on. That groove scarred and jumping. Smooth it out, darling. Let that needle run to its natural conclusion. And in the end, enjoy the ride you created. And when the vinyl's over, it was your track, your speed, your song choice.
Hi guys. Hi, thanks for having us again. This is me, and this is me, Tim, and this is Elspeth, and we have two poems for you today. The first is called On Nipple Baby. On nipple baby now. Nipple 1, nipple 2, nipple baby, yeah. Munch baby, baby disengage. Nipple, on nipple now. Chomp baby, on nipple go. Nipple baby, yeah, now. Chomp baby, wow. On nipple baby nipple now. Thank you. That's an homage to Eddie Berger's poem, Go Team Viki. And this is called The Passionate Baby to Her Love. Come live with me and be my love, and I will all the chunder spew, piss, cack and snot and booger drool and 7 kinds of shit on you. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Anne. Going to read tonight from The Lost Arabs by Omar Saker, with permission of the author. This poem is called Citizen of. One desultory howl is what I imagine singing out the throat of the grey wolf, separated from his mate by a wall neither had dreamed of. There are so few of them left, it falls to me to dream of a muzzle unbothered by country, summoning the music of the lost. Wolves understand territory, borders of lifted leg, but not of stone. Maybe the Americans will walk along the dirt and drench the invisible. Nobody consulted the wolf, spotted owl, jaguar, thick-billed parrot, barred tiger salamander, Mount Graham red squirrel, ocelot or armadillo as to which passport they would deign to keep. Of course, they are citizens of everywhere, at least in part. Some species must move to live, and that means they must also have enemies. An angry landlord, a jilted lover, a neighbor who couldn't bear to be outshone or out-howled. So maybe Arizona's no good anymore, or Mexico is the go. For some, love is a destination to be winged toward or from. It's never where you originate. Others just want to eat or stretch warmth out another season. Scientists haven't measured or mapped the devastation a wall would trap in place, but the lights at night would lure millions of monarch butterflies to flutter topaz gold no more and fall to drape the earth like autumn leaves. Bilingual beauties. I don't need to imagine their howl. Everyone will hear it echoing in time. Listen, it is tickling your ear even now. And there's an asterisk from the author. I trust you to know this isn't about butterflies. Okay, I don't trust you. Hi. This poem from The Lost Arabs by Omar Saker is stanza 2 of Out on the Way to Melbourne. This morning I woke up and forgot how to pray. I scrambled for God, the correct sequence of words, the rhythm beneath it all. I strained and mumbled, a note here, an amen there, like the night before, sweating hallelujah in heat, bodies like confessional boxes, long unused and full of secrets. As the day withdraws, I am out in the canola fields, trying to recall what faith is, and to resist the voice softly saying, throw yourself into the nearest burning bush. Do not listen if it speaks to you. Simply burn. Thank you.
Good evening, guys. I hope you're enjoying Poetryspective number 55 so far. This is our fourth one since we had to move online due to the familiar COVID-19 that we're all so familiar with at the moment. We've been getting some really good amounts of views on our videos, which has been really nice. Averaging around 150 to 200 views, so that's really good. Hope you're enjoying it. Tonight I'm going to be reading a couple of things. One is the first page or so from this rather wonderful novel by Ian Banks called Espadare Street. Ian Banks is a Scottish author. He died a few years ago, unfortunately, taken too soon. But yeah, quite a prolific author of science fiction books and contemporary novels. This one is one of the contemporary novels. So let's get into it. 2 days ago, I decided to kill myself. I would walk and hitch and sail away from this dark city to the bright spaces of the wet west coast, and there throw myself into the tall glittering seas beyond Iona, with its cargo of mouldering kings, to let the gulls and seals and tides have their way with my remains. And in my dying moments, look forward to an encounter with Stafford's six-sided columns and Fingal's cave. Or I might head south to Corryvreckan to be spun inside the whirlpool and listen with my waterlogged deaf ears to its mile-wide voice ringing over the wave race. Or be borne north to where the white sands sing and coral hides, pink-fingered and hard soft beneath the ocean swell, and the rampart cliffs climb 1,000 foot above the seething acres of milky foam, rainbow buttressed. Last night, I changed my mind and decided to stay alive. Everything that follows is just to try and explain. Memories first. It all begins with memories, the way most things do. First, making a cloud. Inez and I made a cloud once. Seriously, a cloud. A real, honest-to-goodness cloud up in the big blue sky. I was happy then, and doing something like creating a cloud just filled me with delight and awe, and a delicious, frightening feeling of power and tininess together. After it happened, I laughed and hugged Inez, and we danced in the cinders, and kicked up the black smoking debris which scorched our ankles, while we jigged and swirled, choking, eyes watering, laughing and pointing at the vast thing we'd made, as it gradually drifted away from us. Well, we've got a couple of COVID isolation themed videos this month, and my little creation is no exception. So, yes. Okay. Normal life seems like a distant memory. I vaguely remember that email, that fateful day, from the big boss in the USA, telling us we had to work from home. We knew it was coming. We knew what to do. The off-grid house we built in the country was not supposed to be a refuge. It was supposed to be a place to retire to. But here we are. The red wine room repurposed into my office with a forest view. Sure beats the vista of cubicles from my regular cell, a living hell. My meeting room has 4 wheels. One day it's atop Mount Glasgow, like now. Next, it's out at the neighbouring farmer's paddock. Cows to the left of me, sheep to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle, with a U. I just wish I could fly like an eagle. Oh look, an eagle. During the early days, the great toilet roll crisis, I channeled my inner steampunk and converted an old fixed wheel bicycle into a patented butt cleaner. I removed the saddle and added some stiff brushes to the rear wheel. It worked like an absolute dream. Until that day, when I decided to give it a try, pedalling in reverse. Oh! On our afternoon walk on a rainy day a couple of weeks back, the sun finally peeked out through the clouds, making a stunning rainbow. One end of the rainbow was on our land. Alex rushed to the end of the rainbow, but instead of a pot of gold, all she found was some kangaroo shit and a faded, empty can of Victoria Bitter. On a dead calm full moon night, The magpies were singing, thinking it was morning, their beautiful, eerie, misguided warbling almost deafening. "Shut up, you noisy pricks!" I shouted, to no avail. We wake up with the light these days. Well, actually, we wake up to the pitter-patter of Archie, wanting to go out to do his business and then get his breakfast. Wouldn't be so bad, except the sneaky little shit makes it a little earlier each morning on account of the breakfast element of his routine. Whoever would have thought that a trip into Maryborough would become an exciting highlight of the week. Happily for us, the good people of Maryborough's panic buying was more about barbecue snags and baked beans than triple cream brie and macadamia shortbread. At the start of the crisis, there was a rush of people buying chest freezers, apparently. At first, I thought they were simply stockpiling frozen food to get through these challenging times. On further consideration, however, I realised that the laws around isolating and increased police presence enforcing said laws would make it much more difficult than usual to bury a body.
Hey, I hope you're all enjoying the open section poetry as much as I am. And now we come to our feature for tonight. I'm really excited actually to have Helen, because she started coming to Poetryspective and became a bit of a regular. It's like, ooh, she's so good, I must book this woman. And now the time has come. And here is a little bit about the fine lady herself. Helen Bradwell is a teacher and writer who lives in Melbourne's West. Her writing has won the Nullumbik Poetry Ekphrasias Award and the Ada Cambridge Prize for Poetry and Biographical Non-Fiction. She has had poems published in Rabbit Journal and in the anthologies Grieve, New Shoots, The Dirty 32 and award-winning Australian Writing. Last year, she won an ASA mentorship for her poetry and has been working with her mentor, Sydney poet Brooke Emery, on developing a manuscript. And I must say, she's a really, really lovely person too, and a teacher. Got to appreciate our teachers. So I hope you enjoy the feature set of Helen Bradwell.
Last night was rain. Streets ran black with it, tram lines shiny with threat. Overnight, parched dirt gulped down a deluge tinged with ash, emerging green and changed. Restore to me the wild spreading permanence of heather and gorse, lichen clamped to clotted soil, skies the colour of pewter, a brook trickling over rough basalt as lark springs upwards, defying gravity, live streaming a torrent of song, where the sly north wind rips the salt from your eyes. My children have not known this. The gods here have no hooves. Thank you to Lish for this opportunity to share my poems, and to my talented daughter Ella for her help with filming. A lot of the poems I've written recently have been looking back to life in England, I think, with this major change. Perhaps we get nostalgic. This one is called Learning to Shoot. I never wanted to shoot, but accept the weight of the solemn 12 bore that snaps shut like an elbow straightening. Always point the barrel away and down. A child stamps ice into rough shards on the puddles. The sharp December cold folds in my nostrils with that half-forgotten, smoky English smell. Sight the target, flick the safety. The voice of my brother-in-law is ever mild. He is thinking of thick curtains, his father's laboured breaths, but talks to me unrushed. Lean into it more, there in your shoulder. I squint along this thing I never wanted, stamp down between the ruts, find firm clay, yell, pull! A bright disc hurtles through the open sky. I track it down the length of wood and steel. Now disc and arms, the long, cold barrel and the good old man connect in a moment's sunlit trigonometry. Then that thumping kickback in my shoulder. Losing the bees. Tipped on its back, the bee waggles itself further into sand. It is damp, its frayed wings folded. Gummed back, they quiver with effort. I find a pebble, small apian arc, turn the bee gingerly, move it to dry tussock grass. It shakes the clogging shingle from its wings. My mother never liked to share her garden with the bees. They lurked in flap of wind-dried sheets. She gathered them in. Blinded in self-defence, they'd sting her hands with kamikaze venom. My father was unscathed. In the shed, propped on a step, I'd craned to see him raise the heavy lid. Maddened, that great thrum of busyness would rise, audible through the pain. Bees scattered, skirled around my veiled father. Squirting smoke to gentle the mob, he'd lift the wooden frames, their sweet waxen cells crusted with honey like upturned gaudy spires. Winter and snow. Death fell softly on the hive. We woke to wet air, cold inward breaths. Crisp snow frayed the curved branches of the monkey puzzle, a good inch of it coating the grass, bearing faint tracks of birds, all clean and undisturbed and not yet turned to slush. Snow did for them. My father never knew the threat. Lifted the chilly lid to find their still, furred bodies piled. Tiny insect corpses littering the floor. The snow a lethal spigot plugging up the door. The guilt, horror of frail wings stilled. We understand the risk. Unthinkable those last times. Panic of massed din rising. A crawling lethargy in the hive. Collective slump into silence. Chill of extinction. From gold to black. I've been teaching about the amazing way children acquire language skills, and this poem comes from that. It's called Signifier. You arrive. My eyes meet your unfocused gaze. As brand new fingers unfurl like anemones, as feet flex and kick, your ears tune in to plosives, sibilants, sly fricatives. Hungry, you find the fecund openness of vowels. You watch, you imitate, produce your coloured ticker tapes of sound, and from this babbling data stream it comes. Ba ba ba, ma ma ma, bilabial plosive vowel repeat. Mama, touch paper of reference that hurls you out into the world.
My father was a hand compositor, filling frame after frame with characters in heavy metal fonts, from left to right with the nick upwards, gauging the gaps between the words, N's and M's of white space to fit the form. He loved the old serif fonts, born of prototypes hand-chiselled with precision. scorned their digital ghosts, approximations that bear clean, sharp lines, not the jag and blur of fresh ink, that will flex and shift to fit your screens. Now, when I write with the metallic tang and heft of hand-forged galleys, framed by his eye for cool, white space. The hot metal in my veins, an unholy alloy of Thames clay and the silt of the Yarra. I will flare out, and whether you hear my voice clothed in the centuries of grace that is Garamond, or in the jaunty flapper rhythms of Eric Gill, I will write with the dancing pull of an errant black hole, left justified, my gravitational waves waiting to collide in your space. This poem starts off at a traditional festival in Zambia in the far northwest, Likumbi Liamese. Makishi. Winilunga seemed the edge of the world. We slept when we slept at all on the floor of old schoolrooms. The fool danced for us, eyes face hidden, shaking his grass switch, holding out a hand for change. How should we understand? Casual outsiders glimpsing the arcane. They did not dance for money, nor for us. Their dance authority, continuing the history of breath and blood and bones that beats within the drums that never pause. Likumbi Liamese. Boys return from ritual space to claim their adult lives, propelled by these few days of masquerade. Makishi spin, enacting ancestors, whirling in spiritual midwifery. They blend with grasslands and the red, red dust. Their straw skirts fly, feet churn the sandy dirt, striped raffia blurs with movement, camouflaged, patched and dyed and knit in every earth and shade, all topped with those unnerving, outsized masks. I have abandoned gods. I ask no ancestor to intercede for me. We brought our children to this hemisphere. Orion squints inverted on his head. This far away, where do we find the thread that tethers us to those who came before? My grandmother conjured meals from coupons, meat dripping, cooling always in a cup. Her mother, crippled, measured flour and lard to sell to neighbours, shuffling on her knees. I'm told I twirl my thumbs the way she did, a motion born of blood, all unaware. She would not know this world, might recognise a slope of shoulder, cadence of the voice. You say the mirror shows you now the deepening lines upon your father's face. How else shall we belong, who do not swing our hips in time to any drums, or smear our faces white with powder? How do we find our old dance still, beneath these upturned stars?
The next two poems are both inspired by old stories. This one's based on the Scottish Selkie stories, where a man falls for a seal maiden. I wanted to write from the man's point of view in this one. Selkie. She was salt-born, briny with driftwood and weed. She used to be seal, lithe and spray-tossed, rolling and diving in waves of ink. She tries hard to be mother, tries hard to be wife.
She deals with taxis, packed lunches and mess on the floor. She longs to be sea-bound again. She needs to recover her skin, which I hid, wrapped in oilskin, for the stinking leathery tang of it was so foreign. There are things I can never get used to. We have our children, mostly human, fully good. She loves the dream of ink blue, but she loves our children too. I made us a home in the bay, but there is little space for me. Sometimes I glimpse past her and the world is outside. I know she will ask me not to go. She has made of me a flint on the shore. Now in the plains of her face, I see only the dark shape packaged in oilskins up in the eaves. I do not want to look. Okay, the last two poems are new ones. I've written them as part of the Dirty 30 challenge this month, where you write onto a new prompt each day. This one is called Salt, and again it's based on an old story. We must go now, he commands. Take nothing. Our God will provide. We have been chosen. I do not understand this cruel faith. I take leave of my yard, kiss one ripe sun-warmed fig, fill gourds with fresh water, pack bread and honey and salted meat. We walk together into skies bigger than I have known. My silence is stone. No time to say goodbye, he says. God is ahead. We must not look back. The sun is up. Back there, an old friend lays a fire, kneads flour and salt and water into dough. Taunted and beaten for her aging womb, she comes to me to find a space to weep. Our daughters will not know that we are gone. One, flushed with new love, seasons her wedding meats. The other bends with saline cloth to dab her son's praised knee, and all this sand will not absorb my tears. Surely this God will grant me one more glimpse of home. I turn. My eyes fill with smoke. What is this crusting my fingers on the backs of my knees between my heavy breasts? Tears. I cannot move. This last one is written again for the Dirty 30 challenge, but really in response to the pandemic and the conditions we're living in. It's called Chiaroscuro Days. I was fashioned as a wife until he left. Annulling touch and fire, he took from me the name of one who holds and is desired. Still I'm aunt, sister, daughter, from afar. Mother always, though for my brood I see a splintered world, dimmed in quarantine, reduced to 2 dimensions on a screen. Last night, though, a breeze played around my neck with a lover's breath. The moon was a smile. The day's light slid to the world's brim like silk. In fractured time, such shards stand in relief. Witness the fall of light, or words plucked out of darkness to temper, to give us form. Thank you to Lish and Colin. Thank you for listening. Stay well and connected. I have been gathering dust. My hips, my shoulders ossified. Red grime of suburban sprawl has settled on my skin, in the fine wrinkles round my mouth. A seabird rests upon my head with one leg raised. Between stone fingers, moss. My thumbs are ammonites, my tongue the broken clapper of a bell. My shoulders jut solid as islands beneath hair that is mussed and petrified. bound up in vows, eroding slowly to loneliness, I smile, still, civil, awaiting restoration. If I move now, will these limbs crumble? Can my eyes shift from the horizon? How will clamped lips crack open, or lungs expand to fill with air? I wriggle fingers that are stiff with verdigris. I stretch cold toes, lift one colossal leg. My knee bends, impatient. Thigh muscles burn. My calf braces for the downward tread. Soon these paws will perspire, smearing my ochre cheeks into stripes of perfect camouflage. But oh, the lost time.
Hi, I'm Gerald Lewis-Fitzgerald, and I have 2 poems that I've written recently to contribute to Poetryspective. Wasn't it you? What? Repeat the question. Oh, the coma. The coma was nice, like a dream, sort of an adventure playground. Lots of furry animals to play with. The bars were open until late. Thank you for asking. What's your name again? No, don't tell me. I think I remember you. Wasn't it you who was interested in my sister Ethel? The plain one with the underbite? No? Not you? Well, then wasn't it you who cut up my imported silk shirts to make tiny little outfits for your ventriloquist dummy? No? It wasn't? Well, wasn't it you who astral projected into my room one night and erased all my astrophysics equations off my whiteboard? No? Someone else? Wait a tick. Wasn't it you who went troppo with a whippersnipper and cut all those crop circles at the Happy Slumber lavender farm? No? Guess again? I'm not guessing. My coma didn't damage my memory in the slightest, so up yours. I got it. Wasn't it you who wrote a play about homosexuality in dolphins and performed it at St. Crispian's Church Fete and wrote to Rick Wakeman asking him to compose the score? All right. Wasn't it you who pretended to have 18 multiple personalities just so you could stand out from all the other pupils at Miss Bracknell's school for the unremarkable? Wasn't it you who devised your own language composed entirely of proper names where the first syllable of each name formed the actual communication? Yes, I remember how sad we all felt the day that you asked the Sunday school teacher, why Byrne, Dusty, Godfrey, Haight Ashbury, Michael, Mumford? It wasn't? Bugger. I can't survive in this world. Nurse! Nurse! Induce me back into my coma, please! Next one is called Kiss of Life. Kiss of Life. If I remain an open book of tattered sunrise blush, if I unstrap my lungs and breathe away my leeching fears, no longer dreading the blow dart from the shadows, if I don a cute, pattable puppy dog onesie and cavort on your shag pile rug, will you seal me with a kiss? A word to the wise. So many kisses find their way through the cracks in me. Bring me one rag of your thoughts, cajole me into the decadence of your clever improv poetry, Re-weld the tailgate on my SUV, launder my puppy dog onesie. Even these bear the soft seal of a guileless kiss out of left field. But the kiss of all kisses, that serendipitous smooch, was my reward for reaching out across half a world. You spoke of the soul that graced my art, and we lined up our several demons like plastic soldiers to toy with or lovingly fling against a wall. No distance between our sphinx hearts. In my mind, I bring my fingers to my lips and kiss those aging talons of mine, and then touch that shimmering wonder to your cheek. A small but sensual token. You have unwittingly already, by the curious power of your candor, kissed me 1,000 times. Kiss me again, my friend. Kiss me always.
The COVID-19 lockdown 2020. On the day when the last of the Easter eggs were eaten in the COVID-19 lockdown 2020. The eggs, somewhat pagan, and time transformed on the road to the place where you learn in the present where to go in the future. The 7-Eleven you go to less frequently because of the one closer by. Present backups daily. The way of the toasted bread, both toast and bread at the same time. The way of the clear throat, the way of the twisted ankle, any which way but loose. Men in the sunshine suburbs patiently watching the grass grow through the window the day after cutting the lawn, waiting mouths agog for the next time they can cut the grass to pass time in the sunshine psychedelic COVID-19 lockdown 2020. The way of the everlasting gobstopper, the way of the live mix album in the distance, lawnmowers. A rockabilly song is coming from the garage. Different bird songs since the bushfire. On the TV, a newsreader is giving stats on death. 3 doors up 2 days ago, men were roaring at each other. The one with tattoos under a blue singlet, body covered in stretch marks from a bodybuilding body in decline, came breathing heavy rum and was saying they're going to stab him up there, pointing to his house. I ducked and dived out of that one with no words, just savvy, and 20 minutes later the street was covered in law, blocking both ends with flashing lights, as I pulled out in the car to fetch the daily libations necessary to pass time not labouring. A relief from labouring is all those who labour crave. Now imagine a burger in space. Now imagine that burger with lovely fried onions, lettuce, red sauce, can of Coke, some chips, the way of the weed cake, daily excursions, the essential shopping mix, cake, lamb, maybe coffee pot, tobacco, veg, Buddha, a map that leads to a place with the list of things to do to be free. Sunshine, psychedelia, COVID-19, lockdown diaries 2020, all the Aussie rules, football shows or shows about there not being football now. The news in Australia did a report on the virtual Grand National in England. It had a replay and the odds of the winner, 5 million in England, watched it live. That night my mother appeared on the screen and was crying, saying it was over between her and my father, told me how much she hated him, then started telling me he was a considerate lover. I'm glad I was on drugs, don't think I could have handled it straight. When I went inside after watching Sun Up, the news said the All Ordinaries were up, which cheered me right up. She said, you got your pyjamas on back to front and inside out. That's the kind of guy I roll, I said. I don't care how this sounds, but the perfect morning drink is champagne followed by a balanced rosé before determining what to do with the rest of the day. Going forward, we shouldn't take a backward step. That night there was a giant full blue moon and John Prine died, making me wonder who will mourn over my grave. Tips for lockdown escapism: 1. DMT. 2. Suspension of previous beliefs. 3. Exercise. 4. Replacing previous beliefs with better beliefs. Nothing seems to be happening when it's happening in sunshine. Psychedelia. COVID-19 lockdown diaries 2020. All I want to do is get drunk and high. This reminds me of being 19. The day unfolds like those foldy things you made as a kid with the numbers 1 to 6 on the small triangles you had your fingers inside. The evening comes like a steamroller on speed, squashes the day over the rooftops into the ground. The moon is a crescent and in fact held by both tips on wires, being manipulated by a drunken sailor who believes he is a puppeteer without realising he is in fact a god, and is playing around drunk with the ropes is causing great confusion amongst eminent cosmological notes. The reductionist online reviewer would buy again. People who know you know when you know. I wandered lonely as fuck through Facebook posts of utter muck, when all at once, and as if by luck, in the distance I did look, and out in front I did see heinous, horrible reality. So I turned my head to the left instead, saw daytime tally, lost the head, ran into the street crying and screaming, lifted by the cops and copped a beating. Public announcement. The doors might be closing, but the windows are open. COVID-19 lockdown 2020.
So we come to the end of yet another Poetryspective. A big thank you wholeheartedly to our feature Helen Bradwell for delighting us all. You're absolutely wonderful, and I personally, I'm really looking forward to when your manuscript is finished and your book is ready so that I can purchase one and read it in the comfort of my own home. And also thank you to all of our open section. It was absolutely marvellous. Our next Poetryspective gig is on May 19, and we will actually have Gerald Lewis-Fitzgerald featuring. He did a feature for us last year. It was a retrospective and he was brilliant. Having seen him tonight in the open section, you now know what you have to look forward to in a fortnight's time on May 19. Thank you to all our listeners, all of you out there. You're wonderful for being here and listening, and we really appreciate it here at Poetryspective in the House of Scecs. And last but not least, there will be some information going up in the next few days online regarding the next edition of Poetryspective and who the retrospective feature will be, because the retrospective feature is returning. And that's about it for now. So, stay safe, be happy. Remember to like the Poetryspective YouTube page or subscribe. There are a lot of wonderful videos on there of past performances that I'm sure will appeal to many of you. And this is Lish signing off for another fortnight. Take your care and see you soon.